It is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. Time for the Topher Spin Meteorites Knowledge Bolide Hangout. And we are just raring to go today. Got a lot of good stuff. A birthday fall we're going to celebrate. We also have some more awesome thin section photography from Marissa. And Marissa actually got a microscope upgrade. So we're going to let her explain that to us. And we are going to look at the amazing results. She was even able to improve upon what she was getting last time. So fantastic. And then Mr. Pat Brown is going to be not checking in live, but he's going to be checking in and giving us a little update as far as what went down in Chicago at the annual Meteoritical Society or MetSoc annual meeting. But right now we are starting our, I don't know if that you can see that or not, but we're starting our 64th in a row Knowledge Bolide. So congratulations, guys. And I lost there we go. So today is actually the anniversary of a meteorite fall. Who in the group knows the name of the meteorite that fell 1 year ago today? Oh, good. I thought this was going to be Captain Obvious to everyone. Yeah, good old Tarda fell 1 year ago today. So what I did is I just photographed and videoed. I just did this like 2 hours ago as quickly as I could to get some video together of some sample Tardas. You can see it's a CM2 ungrouped, something like that. I forget off the top of my head. Look at that fusion crust.
Nice.
The C2 ungrouped.
C2 ungrouped. Gotcha.
And it sort of has a shield shape to it.
Yeah. A lot. This is has a rollover lip on it.
Yep.
And a really shiny backside.
Wasn't lying on the ground for too long.
No, these are actually from Juan Aviles at Jurassic Dreams. He was on the ground picking them up and buying them immediately. Now check out this one though. Oh no, it's the next one. Sorry, I forgot I did 4. It's very crumbly. See the pieces on my thumb that are stuck there.
Yeah.
If you handle this a lot, you're going to have less grams than when you started. But you can see the beautiful calcium aluminum inclusions on there.
Yeah,
and then
CAIs. Yeah,
and then fusion crust all rolled up.
Nice.
I wish I had Dom. There we go. Almost a gram. Almost a complete stone too.
Cool.
I don't know if this is fact or not, but I was looking something over on the carbonaceous chondrites. In the CAIs, they said tend to fluoresce a blue-violet color. I don't know if that's true with all, but it's true with the CV3s.
I wouldn't be able to comment on that because I don't know the geochemistry involved in what they have.
Well, Instatite and like in the CV3s, the Instatite, which I'm going to raise my hand to show off my new Aubrite from Roberto Vargas.
Nice. We definitely want to see the new Aubrite that's coming out. But happy birthday, Tarda. You're 1 year old and you're still fresh as ever. So, yeah, this one is super, super glossy. It's impossible. It's impossible to photograph unless, you have the dedication that Damian has. Yeah. But there's just a little example in case people haven't seen Tarda up close. We got Jules in the house. She is upping her photography and challenging everyone now. So let's see. This video has no audio, so we can feel free to chat above it. And Jules is with us currently, I believe.
Yeah, I can talk about it too.
Hey, there she is. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Jules.
Hi, how are you? This is one of my new pieces. It's Northwest Africa 13235. It is a Howardite, which is a Achondrite.
Ooh.
It's a Howardite melt, if
Mhm.
that's correct. It perplexes me. It's beautiful,
Wow.
but
Absolutely.
I don't know. Reading in the can't even say the word.
Yeah.
Meteoritical
Whoops. Oh no,
Society
no, no,
bulletin. Whoops.
no.
It said that it's a Howardite melt breccia due to the
Mhm.
presence of eucritic and I can't say that word either,
Diagenetic?
diogenetic
Yeah.
material embedded in the melt rock matrix.
Different lithogies, absolutely.
Exactly what you just said, Jules, where it's a breccia or a melt of all kinds of different things. And a lot of HEDs will have, in fact, I'm always open to be corrected so someone can interject. But there's a sliding scale in the HEDs, Howardites, eucrites, and diagenites. Depending on what mix they are, they fall into different families. So here I thought this was a eucrite, to be honest with you, because I see stuff like this white material right here. This is a eucritic inclusion, this whole thing, and this especially is screaming eucrite to me.
Creamy, dreamy.
Yeah, creamy dreamy eucrite. Love you, Oz. But so I was kind of surprised that this is classified as a Howardite. Doesn't that look like a eucrite? There's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Sure is.
Wow.
Yeah,
What's
again,
the weight?
It probably just depends on what the sample was that was sent for classification. It was, if it was primarily Howardite, and then you cut further into another stone and it's more of a mix or eucrite,
Yeah, this is really a complex stone.
Yeah.
I think the total mean mass is 1,344 grams.
Wow.
So was it a single stone then?
Yes.
Wow. I love single stone classifications.
Yep, so do I. All it says for shock stage is high and then weathering grade low, which usually I thought it had a number, but
Yeah.
Now, what about let's talk about the obvious elephant in the room, that beautiful hole in there too.
Oh, if if I remember correctly, seeing a video of the whole stone, it is part of a big regmaglyph. So some of the inside, I believe, is fusion crust. You'd be able to see it maybe in another photo that I have there.
I know you did it. I'll find it. I didn't know that was a regmaglyph that was coming through the slice.
As far as I can tell, it is, but I could be wrong.
Well, it definitely seems legit. Well, I didn't see it. Oh well, I don't know where it was. There it is. Well, I found it.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
if that is a true statement, and I have no reason not to believe it, this would then be fusion crust.
Yep.
Yes.
And it looks like fusion crust. It has the thickness that I would expect in fusion crust. Yeah, I think that's an accurate description there.
Yep.
Very
Beautiful
cool.
slice.
And then here is that I purchased from Utopher. This was one of the first meteorites that I purchased.
With a heart.
Yeah. It's I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Oued Sfayat.
Oued Sfayat, I think.
Thank you. It's an ordinary chondrite. It's a actual fall. It fell in 2019 in Algeria. It's
Mm-hmm.
classified as an H5 chondrite.
And I totally remember this stone because of that brecciation.
Yeah,
That-
I think this one is 9.8 grams, I believe.
Wow.
Oh,
It's, I know I had skin in the game, but it is gorgeous. Look at the
It
fusion
is beautiful.
crust.
absolutely.
And then even in
And
this oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Daniel had said in one of his things that he had said something about veins
Yep.
coming
Veins.
out, and I'm
Yes.
wondering if that right there, yes, if that's what he's talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you didn't point it out, I was going to, because that is super sexy. I'm going to back up our visual hypothesis with a little bit of more information. We see it poking up, but we also see it's a different color.
Mhm.
The black is the fusion crust over the chondrite stone. This discoloration of the fusion crust would be because it's a richer iron material that oxidizes and gives off more color. Pat, would that be a correct statement?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you. But that is a beautiful example, Jules.
Mm.
Thanks for selling it to me.
Yeah.
It's one of my first ones ever. So I purchased it in December of last year with a few other ones, and those were my very first meteorites I've ever purchased. So pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty thrilled.
I absolutely remember this one, and I fell in love with it for this right here. I mean, the fusion crust is amazing on it, but
Mhm.
look at that brecciation in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So
And no,
on-
I won't cut it.
So on this side over on here, we have light shocking. Well, then we have a little bit of melt along here. Then it goes into some brecciation, goes all the way through brecciation, and on the other side ends with some melt.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, you're taking great pictures. Look at that. All the in honor of Marco, or the bubbly fusion crust.
I did purchase just from Amazon, a macro lens to put over my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got the closer pictures that aren't super blurry. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get that close.
Nice.
Nice.
Work good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting great results there.
Yeah.
Thank
Can I
you.
send you my Tarda to photograph?
Sure.
Well, as always, Jules, we love having you as part of our Knowledge Bowl-eyed crew, and we love having you every week. And with this kind of content, keep on sending it to me on Tuesday. You're awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I sent it on Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
I
actually
don't
had
know if
extra
you got
time.
it. Yes, I sent it on Monday. I'm trying to be consistent at one week at a time.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate it. And I also appreciate the next VIP that we have on staff here, our very own Marissa Fanady. And
Right.
she, I think that's her largest meteorite there, but her expertise, if you will, is ever evolving. But oh my God, she's knocking it out of the park on thin section photography right now. I mean, it's amazing. So she actually got a new piece of equipment. Oh, good. She's off mute. Marissa, tell us about the new piece of equipment that you got that's helping you and how it's going to help us view these thin sections.
Well, I got an upgraded microscope. It's a dedicated polarizing microscope. So this time I've got a very nice light source coming up from the bottom, and there's no light source from the top. So I've got a much higher magnifications now that I can zoom in quite a lot, and then I can bring up the lighting so that it's not dark as night and you can actually see something. And it's got a rotating stage so that I can rotate the thin section and take videos that you're seeing.
Rotate the stage. Yep. Beautiful.
It comes it comes into life like it's turning 3D in between our eyes.
It's pretty awesome.
We go in.
Is that
in and out.
a hard
Polar.
chondrule?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure that that's a barred olivine, but
Olivine,
all of the
yeah.
crystal plates are they set in different ways. So you're just seeing, you know, different angles that the plates just happen to set in.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Yeah, so the fancy name for this one is a polysomatic barred olivine chondrule.
Yeah.
And that describes the different orientation of the plates, and that this video shows so beautifully that they go to extinction in you know, different false colors, and shows that they're different crystal orientations.
Oops, it stopped. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous as you're rotating it. I have it slowed down to a quarter of the speed, so I didn't have to replay it over and over again. But when you play it in full speed, it's a lot smoother, and you can really you can see the 3D of it, because you can see how in the middle here, like this right here, how it's transitioning, and you're actually like seeing different, like here it's disappearing and reappearing.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating.
Could fall right in that.
Yep.
So that rotating stage, Marissa, actually makes it easier for you to photograph, because you don't have to constantly reset your polarization lenses, correct?
Right.
So we expect a lot of great stuff. So don't get lazy on us.
Pressure, under pressure.
Yeah. Now that you've proven what you're capable of, there will be no slacking allowed.
No going back. No.
Well, we are pleased as punch to have you as a knowledgeable Oued crew member. Thank you, Marissa. I appreciate your contribution today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Let me see if I can hide these things. There we go. Any guesses?
Zhob.
Zhob. I don't know about that. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Looks like mine. So
Yeah.
I was doing a little bit of photography this weekend, and I had my my personal slice and my inventory slice of Zhob out, and I figured, you know what? Let's take a little bit of a video here. So this is my 70 whatever gram slice of Zhob.
Sweet.
Zhob is a witnessed meteorite fall in Pakistan.
Eudemus.
Is that a chondrule that fell out during sawing, you think, Pat?
It's possible.
It'll be shown in detail later on. I just want to prime you for it. There it is, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, especially where it's a pretty shallow hole. Yeah, I think plucking of a chondrule is probably
It would have been a beauty too then, huh? Probably like that one right there.
Yeah.
But this is a really nice material too, because if you look at it, there's a lot of detail in here. You have all kinds of, like this classed up here at 1 o'clock is different material, and it's here as well. It's scattered throughout, but there's little bits of different material all through this, and it's very, very friable material. If I had to, I could crumble this slice up in my hands if I needed to, but I'm not going to.
Don't do it.
There's an armored chondrule.
And a nice metal vein.
Yes.
This is my cheap demonstration of reflected light versus non-reflected light.
Yeah, those metallic inclusions are cool looking too. It looks like there's probably some sulfides, troilite or something similar floating around in there.
And I think it's an L4-6, if I remember correctly. So it has L4, L5, and L6 classifications all in there. Yeah, it's really a complex meteorite.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see a big representation slice so you can actually get an appreciation for the meteorite, because sometimes we can only afford smaller pieces and it's really hard to see the big puzzle.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can still see the saw marks because if they black, they did just go away.
Exactly. There's a little divot.
Ah, that's your crater.
Yeah. And that's, look at that. That's a brain. It's a metal brain with a brain stem.
It's pretty cool.
These veins of metal are so cool because you see them predominantly and then they just disappear into a literal vein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I actually had fun photographing this one and playing with it. Especially when you have those dark, super round chondrules right next to the metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is really all I wanted to show there. And let me see here. No more slides, so we'll kill that. Awesome. So, all right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I enjoy that little video segment. It's nice to have really good canned footage that we can all enjoy together. And the Zhob was interesting, but the thin sections and also seeing a new collector like Jules have an amazing couple pieces and be able to photograph them, and then kind of fool me because I didn't know that it was a Howardite. I thought it was a Eucrite. So good for you. We are checking with a little show and tell right now, and I know Ben Fisler. There he is. There we go. My Arizona buddy. How are you, man?
I thought I would start out with some mystery meteorites. These are called Kem Kem meteorites. Back when they were first on the market, when they were first sold on the market by Michael Casper in 1999. And they're not in the meteorite bulletin because there was more than one type involved. And everyone expected that he would change them in the bulletin and they would get an NWA number. But to my knowledge, they haven't yet, even though it's been 20 years. So anyway, this one is sorry.
So it's actually from Africa then. It's from NWA?
It's from, sorry, I left my cheat sheet over here. It's from Dakar, Morocco.
Yeah, there was a bunch of mystery and a bunch of controversy about the Kem Kem meteorites and how they related to the later dense collection area in Northwest Africa.
Yeah, this one is a 13.36, and I got a couple more. This one's 31.66. And the research that I've done on it says that the type that these are is going to be an H5, but you know, until it gets in the bulletin.
Ben, are they pretty weathered?
No, they actually have all their crust, but they do have some desert sand, and under that they have some caliche.
Yeah.
But they're H's, and they're a good example of what happens when dealers get stuff in and start selling it in 2.5 kilo lots, and then never follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They used to.
this
go
guy
ahead.
here.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
This one is a 14.5 gram Ozona from Texas.
Nice.
And it was found in, I think 1929, something back there in the Depression era.
Thick slice.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Does that have famous provenance too?
Well, I don't know. This one is from, I got it from the Franklin Mineral Museum, which I
Are
don't
those
even know if
little
they're still in
blibs of
business.
metal in there or CAIs?
It's just metal.
Just blibs of metal. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kind of funny because it seems like all my Texas slices, Abbott and all those are very thick slices for some reason.
You talking Franklin Mineral Museum back by me over in Sterling, Ogdensburg, New Jersey?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still around.
Yeah, that museum is really big in fluorescent minerals. That area is a lot of zinc mines and huge deposits of fluorescent minerals.
There's a big group on Facebook for that as well.
Yep.
Let's see here. We got Mike Kelly. We heard you, now we want to see you.
All right.
There he is. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. You hear me now?
Yep.
So I made it over to the New Jersey Gem and Mineral Show, which is where I got started 3 years ago in collecting meteorites. So I always like to go pick up an anniversary piece when I'm there. And obviously with COVID, it was a little bit delayed. Oh, there we go. Let me turn around. But this was the piece of the year, kind of my anniversary piece. So 766 in 3 years. Gebel Kamil.
That's cool. Every year you go back and get one?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Which
awesome.
it's a small show. It's a lot more minerals and spheres and eggs and pyramids and stuff.
Mhm.
But there are usually about 4 or 5 booths with meteorites there. This year I only saw 2 booths with meteorites, 2 more booths with tektites and moldavites, and obviously a bunch of those were the crystal feely type.
Yeah.
And then about the last 10 minutes of the show, I found this one, and I thought I was going home empty-handed. I was kind of sad, and then this was not too bad. It was labeled for 50, and the guy said, "Hey, I'll cut you a deal on it." It was the second to last day of the show, and got it for 30. So can't complain with that.
Yeah.
A little over $1 a gram. So it ended up it's labeled as 30 grams, but I threw it on my scale. It's 26.
Does it got a little rollover on it?
That's what I was looking at. I don't know if it's rollover or just, I think most of those were kind of more shrapnel-y pieces.
Yeah.
But, you get a little bit of a roll to the edge of them too. But yeah, I noticed that too. And it was obviously sitting like that, and all I saw was the kind of the ugly backside. I said, "Hey, can I open up the case and check it out and turn it over?" And it had that nice classic alligator skin to it. So
Absolutely. Sweet.
I knew that was the one.
That's beautiful.
And,
I almost wouldn't be surprised if that is a little bit oriented or shaped like that. It's not as shrapnel as others, so it didn't have thinner edges. It has thicker edges that lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice piece, buddy.
I would think it was a breakup piece, and then it saw a little bit of motion in the right direction there to be shaped.
That's
and
awesome.
The other thing I got, that's my current big piece of Rumuruti there.
Whoa.
So that's
that is a big piece.
That's a 14 grammer there. That's NWA 13758. And what's nice about that one is it does have dual lithologies. And if you look there, you can see that spot down towards my thumb where it's got the more reddish hues to it.
Yes.
Mixed in with the other lithologies. So that's kind of cool to have both lithologies as written up in the met pool there.
Nice.
Who's
And then,
offering that?
What was that one?
Who is offering that?
This was Mark Lyons.
Okay.
And he is the one of the two listed May mass holders. So
That's
direct
cool.
May mass holder on that one. And then finally, this is the one that I'm really happy about.
Mike, when you showed that, it actually looked like the Starry Night Lunar at first.
Sure did.
Yeah, it's definitely a
It's
good
beautiful.
good looking R. You know,
Yeah.
It's got
Mm-hmm.
a lot of character to it.
Certainly does.
And then I've showed this one off before, which
Yep.
is Vermillion, which is
Oh,
an
yeah.
ungrouped pallastite. And I think I've showed this one off before, which is NWA 1911, which is also an ungrouped pallastite. And there's only 9 total ungrouped pallasites. So I'm really happy to have that one,
Yeah.
third ungrouped pallasite.
Hassi el Biod.
Hassi el Biod, yeah, 02.
Wow.
That's
So-
nice.
Damn.
That's I got 3 of the 9 now. I'm very, very happy about that.
Talk
It's,
about rare.
It's
Mhm.
tiny. It's a half a gram there, but it's got a good display of both the metal and looks like it's got some chromite in there and the odd olivine, which is not related to the other olivines and all the other pallasites. So,
That's
Any
Any
what make-
Widmanstatin pattern
yeah, I mean you can see the breakup there.
down at
Kind
the
of.
bottom? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's got a couple of different
Little-
grains of metal in
Yeah.
there. So
Nice.
I guess camsite and taenite in there for the
Mhm,
metal.
mhm.
I bet if you got all of our combined weight and multiplied it by 5, we still wouldn't have half a gram besides you.
So
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely.
stoked to get that checked off the list. And that's they Vermillion and this are both pyroxene pallasites. This is kind of one of the interesting ones in that it's not related to those other two. So it's in its own little area. So I mean, obviously they're all considered ungrouped, but this is not genetically related to the main bulk of those 9, which are high in pyroxene. This is just an odd olivine pallasite.
That's fantastic, man. God,
Yeah, I think
you're crushing the rare stuff, man. Wow, that's phenomenal, dude. Congratulations. I know you're checking off the boxes, but you're actually checking them off with nice pieces. Really nice.
thank you.
All right, we are switching gears a little bit and checking in with our Doc Brown. Now, Pat, when I first saw your shirt, I didn't understand it, and then as soon as you explained it, I wanted to rip it off you and wear it myself.
It says Chernobyl in the Cyrillic alphabet.
You said Chelyabinsk when you told me.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Chelyabinsk. Those things are all intertwined. The secret atomic city where they were making plutonium was called Chelyabinsk 40. So sorry, my dyslexia.
You can keep your shirt then. You can keep it. Where were you last week, buddy? We missed you.
I was in Chicago at the Meteoritical Society meeting, which I think it was a minor miracle that we actually had a meeting. And it was a hybrid meeting where there were 150-ish of us attending, and then they were videoing the live papers, and roughly half of the papers were delivered by a pre-recorded presentation, and then a live Q&A session with the authors around the world. It was definitely good to be able to have a Meteoritical Society meeting this year. And last year in 2020, our meeting in Glasgow, Scotland was canceled. And So this meeting is a very very technical, very high end presentation where people are basically presenting their latest research in a number of areas related to meteorites and planetary science. For somebody without a formal education in planetary science and meteoritics and such, it's a very steep learning curve. And this is my third meeting. I was to the one in Berkeley in 2015, the one in Sapporo in 2019, and then this one this year. And I think I'm probably up to understanding 50 to 60% of what was presented.
You're doing good then.
Yeah, yes, for me, I think that is doing good. There were a number of really good sessions. There was 2 half-day sessions on chondrules. There was one entire half-day session on CAIs. There were some papers on very early results from the sample return missions from Hayabusa 2 and Itakawa. Some discussion of spectroscopy and FTIR of the returned asteroid samples, and trying to project what we're going to learn from the samples that are en route to us right now. One of the really interesting tidbits that I picked up was I had heard that cometary ice, the water ice in comets, does not match the water that we have on Earth. And I figured that was oxygen isotope ratios, but that makes no sense because we can't remotely test oxygen isotope ratios. But it turns out it's the ratio of deuterium to regular water. So it's heavy water to regular water, or hydrogen in the water. So, regular water, heavy water. And they actually can measure that remotely. And so cometary, the water ice in comets doesn't match the deuterium to regular hydrogen ratio that we have in our water on Earth, seawater and freshwater. But the water that is in carbonaceous chondrites does match. And a number of the asteroids that we've done spectroscopy work on, the C-type asteroids, I believe, are carbonaceous chondrite sort of materials. And Bennu and Itakawa and a lot of the other visits that we're doing for sample return are of that type of asteroid. The other thing that it's difficult asking questions, and part of the presentation is, the paper's given and then there's a few minutes for questions and answers. I think I answered 3 questions, and I know one of them was stupid in retrospect, and one of the other ones might have been stupid as well. But one question I've been dying to ask is, how do we really know that can compare carbonaceous chondrite material with asteroids? And it's through the spectroscopy sort of work in visible and IR. And then I asked, given our experience in 2019 and 2020 and all the carbonaceous chondrites that have fallen, Tarda and
Winscombe,
Elaine.
Yes.
Kulang,
And looking at those materials, and especially their friability and the fact that they contain water and they dry out and crack and all that kind of sort of stuff. And so I posed the idea, are carbonaceous chondrites really a lot more common than we would think from the recovered find information?
but just not able to survive and be found now?
Exactly. Yes. Not be recognizable and break down in the environment too rapidly. And there was pretty good consensus that that was the case, that the carbonaceous chondrite meteorites are more common, and that would make great sense when we look at carbonaceous chondrites being the source of water on Earth.
Yeah.
It's also very interesting that there was a bombardment period about 470 million years ago where there were lots and lots of collisions, both in our orbit and out in the asteroid orbit. And one comment that I had made about all of the shock planes and the impact melts and so forth that we see in many of the meteorites, I had described those as impacts that resulted in material moving from the orbit of the asteroid belt into an Earth crossing orbit. And it turns out that's wrong. Not all of, but most of those shock events are from this early bombardment period about 470 million years ago, which I thought was just fascinating. And it turns out that things, the asteroids changing from the asteroid belt orbit to an Earth crossing orbit is, some of it is due to collision, but a lot of it is due to a much more gentle process with, gravitational effects of the planets, but especially with Urenkov, I'm sure I'm butchering the name, effect, where if a rock has dark on one side and lighter on the other side, it will spin and generate drag and will change orbit. And so that's how a lot of those things actually got into an Earth crossing orbit. Also, just some really interesting information about carbonaceous chondrites and CAIs. And CAIs are such a mystery because they are refractory. They're very high temperature materials, and they've been stripped of all of their volatile elements and materials. And so they formed close to the sun, but they are mostly, but not entirely, incorporated into carbonaceous chondrites. And the carbonaceous chondrite material is different and unique in that it contains, amino acids and a bunch of other hydrocarbons. And so it wasn't formed close to the sun. It was formed far away from the sun. And they generally use the orbit of Jupiter as kind of the division between close to the sun and not close to the sun. So it's interesting that the CAI material moved from formation very close to the sun, but was incorporated mostly into meteorites that accreted or clumped together outside the orbit of Jupiter. And CAIs are used also as a signpost in the formation age of these materials. They've actually nailed down the CAI formation age as 4.5673 plus or minus 0.00016 billion years of age. So that's pretty good. That's 5 significant digits, which was I thought a very interesting thing. And also I had heard of this, but I didn't really have a lot of really good references. But CAIs, we see them mostly in, carbonaceous chondrite sort of material, especially CV3s. But there are many, many more types of CAIs than just those puffy cloud looking ones that we commonly see in CV3s. There are some that are much more spherical, much more dense, much more incorporated rather than the fluffy type ones. And they happen apparently fairly often in instatate chondrites, and they have been noted in ordinary chondrites too. And I'd seen that in the literature, but one of the talks talked about finding them in L3.5, L3.8, LL3.6, L3.05, 3.3, and C3.00. So they're actually in a lot of the ordinary chondrites, the type 3s, but not just the 3.00, 3.05 sort of range.
Ultra primitive ones.
Yeah. So I learned a huge amount, and I'm the wheels are still turning, the hamster's still on the wheel in my head, trying to figure out how to incorporate all of this stuff together into a unified understanding or improved understanding. But it was definitely a great meeting, and boy, the Meteoritical Society and the hotel did really well on COVID sort of precautions, and but I was a happy camper to get home and jump in the shower right away and burn the clothes that I had on the airplane.
Take a Silkwood shower.
Yeah. So I will as I dive into these things a little deeper, maybe give some other updates on what I learned in a little more detail. This meeting being a hybrid meeting, they actually recorded all the talks, and so that I can go back and replay them, which will help quite a bit.
That's
And
awesome. Before you move on, I thank you for that report and update. We also had Daniel Shake out there as well. He was, you guys hooked up together and joined us after the hangout. But I did want to give one extra plug to Daniel Shake. He has a presentation on Irichidia 004, a Winonite polymic that he classified. It's on one of our hangouts. If you just search for it, you'll find it. But that was his presentation at the MetSoc conference. So one of our Knowledge Bolide members was not only in attendance, but also one of the presenters. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. So that was, thank you, Tip, for pointing that out. That was done as a poster session. And Daniel was also a co-author on a paper about Tarda, and especially about findings in the field on Tarda, which was really good, very well presented. So it was wonderful to actually meet Daniel face to face. But I asked a bazillion questions, and I'm working on getting some more type samples to him for classification. And one of those, and I've showed this one before, but hell, I'm going to show it off again. This is a probable CV3.
Nice.
Is that white a CAI? Oh
Yes,
my God. Yeah,
those
they all
are
are.
Giant CAIs of very weird structure.
Wow.
And there's one more CAI right there.
That's huge. That's as big as your finger.
Yeah. There's my index finger for reference. And so that is one of those more incorporated spherical sort of CAIs rather than the fluffy cloud type of CAIs. And I think that spherical one there is probably one of that type as well. But huge.
Did you put any UV light on that, Pat?
Say again?
On that particular one, did you put any UV light on that long wave?
Thank you, Arthur. That was the other thing I was going to mention. Yes, I did. After you mentioned that, I scrambled around and grabbed a few of the carbonaceous chondrites, and I didn't find any CAIs that fluoresce. So
was there any instatype in the CV3?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The instatites definitely of more interest after I learned from this one talk that they can show CAIs. So I'll be on the lookout for those in Tucson this year. And so that's what I had. It was a wonderful experience, and it was touch and go for a long time whether it was actually going to happen or not, but it did, and I'm glad that it worked out.
Well,
how many hours a day?
The papers were roughly a 2-hour session in the morning and a 2-hour session in the afternoon. And then there were some presentations at lunchtime. There was a roundtable talk about sample return details. And then we had a really nice behind the scenes tour at the Field Museum, where we got to see a bunch of stuff in the research labs downstairs. And I was going to show some of my photos from the displays, but I don't know if I either didn't get them recorded or if they're in some weird location on my phone. But they actually had 3 of the fossil meteorites that have been found, you know, in sedimentary rock,
Wow.
and then miraculously excavated somehow and recognized as
Wow.
meteorites.
Amazing.
But it was definitely a great time.
That's fantastic.
Back to you, Tober.
Yep. Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate it. Last week, well, for the last couple of months, we've been collectively, I've been doing it and you guys have been patiently listening, busting on eBay scammers. Well, we decided to do a different approach last week and say, you know what? I'm not scared of being called the meteorite godfather. So we put together a list of meteorite vendors on eBay that are 100% trustworthy. And the link is extremely simple. So if you're buying on eBay and you want to run your seller all through this list, it's not a inclusive list, but I can vouch personally for everyone on the list. And so can a lot of the knowledgeable Bullite members. So the link to get to that page is tinyurl.com/safe sellers. So tinyurl.com/safe sellers. That'll take you right to the Excel spreadsheet or the Google spreadsheet, and you'll see everyone's sellers, their eBay seller name, their real human name that I know for a fact is their name, and then a link to their eBay location. That's all I'll say about that. It's a valuable resource. If you choose to use it, by all means, enjoy. We are doing some show and tell, and I'm so glad this guy joined us, Mr. Mark Roca.
Now, deep South Texas. Can you show off your Pizhanka and then the pictures of the Erg Chech that you sent me that I bought?
Oh,
To the group? I want to see your Pizhanka.
Whoa.
You have it?
Mine is right here. And it's really odd that you asked about that because let me see here. I had this all ready for show and tell.
Good.
And then I saw you with your hand up. I was going to ask, can anyone identify this meteorite?
That's so cool.
Isn't it? This is a beautiful, beautiful meteorite. There's certain things in meteorites that I absolutely love. Let me tell you what I love about this meteorite. Besides just the overall look and everything of it and the natural hole, this is Pizhanka. It's a single stone meteorite classification. So there's no more. It's one stone. So I know this came from that one meteorite. There's no doubt at all. There's a very limited supply of it. There's only that one stone. And I bought the smaller slices. So if you want a slice of this, you're going to be buying a 200-gram slice, not this 141-gram slice, you know. But this is not even mine. This belongs to Mr. Mark Roca. It just hasn't been shipped yet. But look at this.
Oh, yeah.
This one actually has an amazing crystal down here in the corner. Look at the color shift on that one.
Wow.
It's like beautiful hash marks.
Yep.
Wow.
Happy.
That's awesome, Mark.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I'd like that blowout. People
Yeah, very nice.
And
I love the sulfides in there too.
I had casually asked the Topher earlier in the month if he had any meteorites with the hole in it, and he took the time to actually search and found one for me. So very happy. And what's that round thing? That one right there, the round.
I'm guessing that that's a sulfide inclusion, possibly troilite, but there are other sulfides, so it's FES.
Very cool.
Look at that little thing with a ring around it, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty.
And then, like, now that we're zoomed in, let's go to that hash again.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Complex.
It's absolutely wild, wild material. Pazanka. So this is Mark's slice.
Yay.
Yeah, it's a winner. And I totally appreciate you giving me the little plug there, because I did go out of my way to buy that iron specifically in case you wanted it. This is my Pazanka that I showed off, I think, a week or two ago. This is further, well, obviously they're one of them. I think somehow those line up, but I'm not exactly sure, because it has, well, hold on. I don't know, maybe something like this, because we have the inclusion in that one.
Yep.
So they have to line up somehow, but yeah, they're from the same stone. And Bruce, I didn't realize it until I was watching or editing the replay, editing for the highlights and everything. You said it looks like someone shot a bullet into this.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, I didn't hear it when you said it at the time, but I wanted to call that out. And like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Looks like someone shot a bullet in there.
Yeah, that was very spherical.
And then on this side, the inclusion's even better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of character for that.
Yeah. This one right here, I am super happy for you, Mark, because I think this is an absolute gorgeous feature. And you can see the different color in that other inclusion down there.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally reflects differently. There it's reflective, but that stuff is not highly reflective. Yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful slice. And again, a single stone meteorite. There's only so many, and it's not that large. It's like, I don't know, well, hold on, maybe I have it here. Pazanka. It was found in May of 2016, and that's all I know about it. AIB main group, I believe. But yeah, I think it's only like a 46 gram or 46 kilo stone, something like that. So it's not like there's not like it's Altai where they're pulling out kilo after kilo, or ton after ton. All right, good night, Arthur. Good to have you, buddy. All right. Does anyone else have some show and tell? Or Mark, you want to see the Erg Chech, huh?
Yeah, can you show the group the pictures of that? Because that's really beautiful. And I was reading about it in the age of, it's like the oldest magmatic thing we've ever found.
Yeah, that was the interest that you were talking about was stoked on the YouTube video I made called 3-Minute Meteorites. I'm doing a series. It used to be called Meet the Meteorite, but the YouTube gods love numbers better. So 3-Minute Meteorite likes the algorithm better. So that's what the new name is. But I did one on Erg Chech, and it's the oldest volcanic material dated on Earth, but it's not Earth material, obviously. All right, we got Colin Tremblay calling in from Canada.
Okay, yep. So I just wanted to show off the new Aubrite that's
Oh.
under classification currently. This
Yep.
is 6.05 grams.
Nice.
Using a headlamp, so hopefully it shows, but it's really nice.
Wow.
That's not the Algeria.
Yeah, that new one there. Yeah.
Wow.
So
It
I'm
is-
trying to, there's little, it's not under the best light, but there's little specks somewhere here. I think the bottom,
Mhm.
like, it's really reflective, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's so,
Wow.
I love the way that it looks. It looks so unique. And this is
Oh
my
my
first Aubrite, so
Dude,
Nice.
they don't all look like this.
yeah.
The only Albright I really have, to be honest with you, and I have like a small one of Bishopville is a witnessed famous one. You're not going to own much.
Mhm.
And then we all have little bits of Norton County, but this is the first Albright that's affordable and enough around that people are actually cutting it, slicing it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's definitely, it's awesome. I love the look to it. I haven't looked under I have a microscope. That's not a very good one, but I haven't taken a look at it yet. But it'll be interesting to see what the composition, once the classification is done, to see what kind of interesting,
Yeah.
material that is formed out of this.
Because I was telling my wife the other night, just last night, because she's helped me with some of my meteorite business and COAs, and we were talking about how rare some meteorites are. And like this Aubrite, for example, it's rare. I mean, it's rare. When you think about the meteorites raining down on Earth that are collected and classified, these are rough numbers. 85% are stonies. Well, that leaves 15%. Well, in there are all your irons, all your pallasites. That's another 4.5%, another 6.3% or something like that. There's not much room left. So there's like 4.3 or 4.4% of all meteorites are achondrites. Okay. Well, in achondrites, there's a crap ton of meteorites. I mean, all the lunar samples, they're all achondrites. All the Martian samples, they're all achondrites. All the Erg Chech, all the Winnonites, like these are all the HEDs, the Howardites, the Eucrites, the Diagonites, they're all achondrites. So you look at like there's 30 whatever classes of achondrites. We're narrowed into one now in Aubrites. It's that rare,
And,
Yeah. So
Awesome.
I'm
You said
really,
this one is from Algeria?
Yeah.
yes.
and I'm super excited to see it myself. I have to contact my guy, but I should have it in the mail from Northwest Africa any day now. 226 grams with Oz and Chris Monk. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
so we'll have some available. I don't know who's going to be slicing. I know Chris has his isomet. He'll have it set up by then. Don't know, Chris, are you going to start slicing your Aubrites?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, they
okay.
will definitely be sliced right now. So when I bought the isomet, it was missing some parts. And so I've been making the parts because I can't afford to buy them from Bueller.
Yeah.
So I've got it. Everything is functional at this point. I'm waiting for a CBN blade that I'm going to cut the meso with.
Ooh.
And I do have a 6-inch 303 blade, but the kerf on it is like 0.026 and the CBN blade is 0.016.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
for the more important ones, I'm going to be using that blade and
Yep.
certainly the meso.
And I don't know how beautifully they're going to be cut with the isomet and a really thin blade and everything. You might not have to do much lapping on it. Like it may be
Polished with it.
Yeah. Well,
With
I'm super excited to see how that goes because If it works out for you, I might send you a few of my pieces to cut for me, but after yours. I'll let you get it down perfectly with your material, and then once you have the absolutely perfected, I'll allow you.
I definitely have a couple of cheaper stones. That stone I was showing last week, the NWA 13272, which is also an ungrouped Achondrite.
Yeah.
Much less expensive, and I'm gonna start out with that. See if I can't, get a 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter slice, just to play around with it a little bit and see what I can do before I get the expensive stuff in there and make a mistake.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Measure twice, cut once. So awesome.
And so Topper, we were talking about Aubrites, and in the entire meteoritical bulletin, there are 75 Aubrites, but roughly 65% of those are from Antarctica. So there really are
30,
very few Aubrites. There's Aubrites and then anomalous Aubrites.
Don't get Mike started. He already has the anomalous one. All right, guys. Wonderful. Another successful and informative knowledge bolide hangout. Enjoy your week, everyone, and thanks everyone for participating. Good night. See ya.
Thanks all.
Bye, guys.
Later, everyone.